There you go. Have a good meeting.
Thank you. Good evening, and welcome to the Scituate Planning Board Thursday, August 18, 2024. Select board hearing. I think it's pretty anyway. The general public is, thank you, is welcome to attend. Here's a posted agenda. Is there a second? Seconded by Ms. Lewis, all in favor?
Aye.
Tonight at 6:30, we have endorsement of site plan review of stormwater permit by 817 Country Way. Love to do. Assessors map block 12-2-38-F. The applicant owner option C properties. Is there anybody here online?
They kind of said,
Go ahead, sir.
I'm sorry. You have no one online.
Oh, fine.
they kind of asked if they had to come, and I said, it's really an administrative function. Nobody really needs to be here.
Okay.
I have reviewed the plans. We had going back and forth a couple times. And so I think that they've met the conditions as with condition for stuff that had to be on the plans prior to endorsement. We voted to extend the endorsement time and the recording time at the last meeting, so everything should get done in the next month. Here is the motion for endorsement.
Thank you.
I move to accept the applicant's request for endorsement of site plan administrative review and stormwater permit for multifamily development in the Village Center and Neighborhood District, North Scituate Village District, Outer Village Subdistrict, VCN, NSV, OV at 817 Country Way, as shown on the plans for option C, Properties LLC by Grady Consulting LLC, sheets 1 through 39, revised, dated July 18, 2024.
Second. Seconded by everybody. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Everybody needs to speak directly into the microphones, everybody. We keep hearing that from everybody. So Kara, we're all set here, right? All right, so all that paperwork and whatever.
We'll do that after.
Oh, we have to sign out like.
Yeah, you have to sign, 39 sheets, so.
Oh. I gotta set my arthritis, we're all set. Okay. Hi, Chris. So 6:35, we are right on time. Old business, new business, correspondence, and up there. Approve the minutes.
We have any minutes?
Yes. Minutes. Yes.
I move the minutes for July 11, 2024.
Seconded by Ms. Lewis, all in favor? Aye. Did we spend any money?
No.
No? Okay. Oh, Mr.
Ready for the typewriter meeting?
No money this time.
No money. Oh, my goodness, Mr. Wendell would like to hear that. Okay. Update the MBTA communities, please. Oh, we have to wait for the admin/calculator to get back.
All right, MBTA communities, so we filed on 7/25 for full compliance and have heard nothing. So it's just, it's a wait and see at this point in time. They have 90 days. So, we'll see.
So what does that bring us, like September or something?
No, like October.
Oh, you don't get to here.
Yeah.
I just
So,
say,
I mean, there's,
no.
we'll see what they say, but,
Is there any urgency legal thing past? Is there anything that passes?
no, I mean, we kind of informally have said we don't want to change anything in the bylaws. So, we do want to talk to them. In the application, they did say they would reconsider the NDTV sub-district for a mandatory mixed use. And so I added that in the application that we want this to be reconsidered if you remember their comments were there's too much parking there. Well, we explained that it's the MBTA park. We'll see. One step at a time. I'm sure that when I get notified, if they want to talk to us, I will be arranging a meeting with town council. I mean, everybody, town council, our consultant, Jim, will be on the phone when and if they decide they want to talk to us.
I still think they need to do a field trip.
You do too, I agree.
Really, because it's just so important for them to see exactly what is being dealt with here. They have no clue, none at all.
I agree with that, but, you know, it's a wait and see right now. We've done everything we can, and we're waiting for them.
Mr. Calucci is very busy.
They're all on vacation.
That could be true. So we're all set, Nick, Karen?
Yeah, we're all set. Once I know more, I'll let you know.
So this is our big thing for tonight, is our future planning board priorities. So as we all know, last week, the governor signed in something called the Affordable Homes Act, House Bill 4977. Karen has pulled out section 7 and 7.8 in particular for us. And 181 pages, so if you like to, so far, I read at least 90 of them. So Karen, you want to take the wheel?
What the governor's bill did is, you know, it's a combination, it was House and Senate, and the governor signed into law. They are changing the definition of accessory dwelling. They're saying accessory dwelling is a self-contained housing unit, yeah, well, we agree with that. And they say that it's not larger in gross floor area than half the gross floor area of the principal dwelling, or 900 square feet, whichever is smaller. So our bylaw right now has 40% of the gross floor area, or 750 square feet, whichever is larger. So we're gonna have to change our bylaw. We can add other restrictions on it. We cannot restrict the creation of rental accessory dwelling units. We can say it can't be used for short-term rental. What they're also saying is that you don't need more than one parking space. You don't need any parking if it's in a half mile of a T station. You can have site plan review, but you can't have a special permit. Has to be by right. But you know, so you can't have discretionary permits. Special permit is deemed to be discretionary.
When does
Which
this?
is different than what we have.
Yes.
Right now, we have a special permit.
So does that mean we have to sort of expand out?
We have to change our definition.
It's like we have to be.
Yes. Yes, we have to be more detailed, and the owner doesn't have to live there anymore. So,
Doesn't have to live on the property.
No.
Oh,
When
But if that's, let me answer this, so our bylaw says this says whichever is smaller than.
Right.
So for instance, if you have a 3,000
Yeah,
square foot
3,000
house,
square foot house.
and you wanted to do an accessory dwelling, which our bylaw says, what is it, 2/3?
40%.
40%.
1,200 square feet. You can do.
So, right, but so would they still have to come in front of us for a special permit for that size?
no, we have to change our bylaw. I'm having a meeting next week with
They
town
couldn't do that
council.
size.
You can't,
They
you're
couldn't
right,
do 1,200.
right.
Right.
So one of my questions to town council is going to be, what happens with all the ones we've approved for the last 40 years?
So I feel like those should still be able to
Yeah,
come in front of us for a
because-
special permit.
Retroactive.
retroactively, no, we're not gonna make them come back, if they change it. It's kind of like, you agree, what's the old bylaw versus the new bylaw?
What are you saying?
I'm saying, if they want, so this, when I read this, because somebody sent it to
It is, but by right, you can have site plan review.
I think what.
But if
Rebecca
someone
said,
wanted to
you
go
have
under
special-
our own bylaw, our old bylaw, which actually gives you a bigger spot too.
I think we have to change our bylaw to comply with state law.
Could the
I think
bylaw
by
be
law, I
changed?
think it could be both.
Well,
This is by right, if you want something bigger, you have to come in front of our board.
You still have to come from the board for by right.
well, so the question becomes, does the board want to have site plan review for accessory dwellings when we change the bylaw?
Yes,
I would
absolutely.
think we would, because that means somebody has to come in front of you. You can't deny site plan review, but they still have to
You
meet.
can set the standards
You can-
for what
right.
you need for site.
Right,
Yes.
right.
That's what you want.
When does this go into effect? Is it in effect now or
She
what?
signed it, I don't know, she signed it into law on Tuesday.
Right.
I think
I don't know
maybe
if
the
it's worth
question
it.
Rebecca's asking, the way I see it is, you can have a site plan review that meets this definition of accessory dwelling. But can you also define the accessory dwelling that's larger than 900 square feet? That's something that can be permitted under a special permit. Up to 40% of the, up to our current definition.
That's
That's
a
the
question, that's a question we can ask.
Yeah.
That's a good question.
That is a good question.
Very
And then
good question.
what happens with the old ones already approved? I don't think they automatically get to go under this new
They
bylaw.
grandfathered.
Not unless the bylaw, not unless the legislation.
It
The
doesn't say
legislation
that.
doesn't
That's
say that.
retroactive.
It doesn't say it's retroactive. So, I think they're grandfathered and they still have to follow the special permit that they received. But I just need to verify that with town council. Karen?
And that also means that if whatever change we do, we have to go to town meeting.
Yes,
That's
right.
correct.
So we have to rewrite the bylaw.
Right.
And that will bring up the question of whether the rewrite of the bylaw if will still include the larger accessory dwelling
Right,
definition. Assuming we can do it.
Right, so depending on what town council says, the soonest that we would be looking to do this would be for the spring town meeting next year. We are gonna have a fall town meeting, that's gonna be like November 18th. But warrants open right now, and we're not in a position to do anything.
All right.
We'll have to read it first.
It says accessory dwelling unit, inclusive of sleeping, cooking, and sanitary facilities. Well, see, this means that cooking to me does not necessarily mean starting.
So we are working on a definition for cooking.
We are
Yes.
working on that because
We are,
I
All right.
asked this afternoon about cooking, talked to Neil and Bob about this. And Neil says cooking is defined under the building code as having a range.
a 220 year.
So,
So I could have a gas connection at 110
so I implied to Neil and Bob, my thing was, well, cooking is more than, cooking can be defined as broiling, sauteing,
Right.
many other things. So that's a question that I'm going to ask town council. In looking at some other bylaws, some people say, some towns, this is prior, of course, to this, say kitchen.
Yeah.
I mean, so I'm going to be asking those type of questions because, you can broil and saute on a hot plate and an induction stove. And that's not the same thing
Yeah.
as an oven.
And you
So-
can have an oven on your counter, a
Yes.
convention,
Yeah.
convection oven.
Yes.
You guys also, some of these houses that are what are they called?
Double ovens,
Duplexes.
Not a duplex, a raised ranch with, they weren't built for families of multi-generations to live in.
Right, right.
And there is a kitchen downstairs and there is a kitchen upstairs, because you go one way or the other. And they are not meant to be an in-law apartment, they were just built for a multi-generational family.
They were probably built,
And if you
Prior
ask the
to-
question, you have to have two
Yeah, but
anyways.
those people they don't have that. You've all been in those houses.
yeah.
We don't have one.
They didn't have the intent to have a in-law apartment, that was the way they were living with their family, because they just had their
So,
in-laws underneath.
but we're not saying we're going back and trying to redefine.
No, no,
this,
no.
right?
No, I know,
It's
but
going forward is the way I think this should be addressed, is new applications for accessory dwellings. And then I agree that the cooking is more, the way I read it is more, it's not about somebody cooking something in a pot, it's about cooking facilities, like there are sleeping facilities. And, there's sanitary facilities, right?
So do we need to divide
And
cooking or
it says
kitchen?
sleeping, cooking, and sanitary facilities.
Mhm.
Facilities, right?
Yeah, right. Like a
So
room.
cooking facilities probably means there should be a sink there too, right? There should
Right.
be running water.
And most of
There should
these,
be a kitchen.
most of these places have that, in some of the ones we've seen over the years that, quote, are non-accessory dwellings. They have everything but the range. And then, of course, we know what they go back and do. We know they go back after they get their permit and they put it in. But, we're trying to do something that's within the law and that, we have a lot of pre-existing non-conforming houses that were built prior to zoning, that were probably set up for multiple families, multiple kitchens. I mean, the Bernie Buck case on Martha's Vineyard said you can have more than one kitchen. I mean, so,
Yeah, but people have plenty of opportunity
right,
to come back and get an official designation as an accessory dwelling.
right.
It's been on books for a decade, more.
I mean, we've had
So,
accessory dwellings.
If
for-
nobody's coming and ask for it now,
They're not coming.
they're not coming
That's
and tough, right? I mean, at this point, that'll have to be dealt with the new, whatever the regulations are.
Right, so, I mean, I think, depending on what town council says the timing is, this is, maybe they know if there's going to be regulations put into here, because it said regulations may be adopted. But
Yeah.
I would think that we'd be trying to do something for the spring town meeting, which means that we have to be working on it now,
Right.
because our public hearing would have to be in January, and we'd have to have our workshop in December. So I just wanted to get the feelings of the board of what direction you wanna go in, so I can try to keep finding out more information and keeping you apprised.
So do we think that we need to define cooking or kitchen?
No, it says cooking facilities, so we
Cooking
need to
facilities.
define cooking facilities.
I think we need to define cooking. Our bylaw already has a definition of an accessory dwelling, which is very, very similar to this definition right
Or we can define cooking?
Well, I'm just saying that the way it's defined, is sleeping, cooking, and sanitary facilities.
Okay, so we can define cooking. So
I read that to mean sleeping facilities, cooking facilities, and sanitary facilities.
okay. I mean, because that's what we're doing.
under our current definition of accessory dwelling, an accessory dwelling is a separate housekeeping unit, complete with its own sleeping, cooking, and sanitary facilities that are substantially contained within the structure of a single-family dwelling, a structure accessory to, or a business structure that functions as a separate unit. So that substantially complies with this definition.
The problem is the interpretation down the hall. That's the problem.
Well, hopefully we'll be able to flatten that out.
So that would be the reason to put some definition
Yeah.
on it. So,
So,
Right.
so we can really flatten that out as we go forward, right?
is the
We'd have to
state
enforce it.
issuing any other regulations.
that's what I don't know, and that's what, maybe town council will be able to tell me if that the state is gonna be issuing regulations, or if they think we should just hold on for a little bit, but, if we hold on a little bit, I'm going by our current bylaw.
What about little houses?
Tiny house.
Tiny houses.
I didn't see
There's
anything,
nothing in here about tiny houses.
I didn't see anything on tiny houses.
I didn't,
900 square feet, they did.
They're good.
Tiny house,
that's their own definition.
it's not considered, they're not allowed in the town of Scituate. They don't meet the definition of a home, is what I've been told.
Because they're mobile.
What is supposed to be?
Because of the size of a bedroom and stuff like that. We have certain sizes of bedrooms, et cetera. So that's what I've been told.
And I told you, I think they're supposed to then design those from Scituate.
Whoa,
Okay, somebody told me that. Somebody told me that a long time ago. And whoever made them, like, live in the West End, of course they did.
look over on Maple Street. And
I
so,
don't know. I mean, they have to meet the definition of, they have to meet all the definitions under the state building code. I mean, we have a lot of prefab homes that are,
So I think it would be important for site plan review, I think that is important. I also think, I know sometimes we talk about a condition and it looks similar to a house, because there are people out there that are really pushing the tiny homes and the house, which look very different than
Right.
any other house that's situated, except for a few modern ones that we already have. So, look, that's something.
I think we can keep that part of our bylaw requirement.
Yeah, this doesn't appear to address that, although it says it's 900 pages, who knows what it actually addresses.
No, the first multiple pages, I mean, there's at least 6 pages in this act that says Chelmsford gets 1.5 million for this, Marshfield gets 1.5 million for
Yeah,
this.
but those are just earmarks.
Well, right, they-
Right, so.
But so I printed out what I thought is the right version, and I'm hoping town council will tell me if something is not right. But even the preliminary version of accessory dwelling didn't appear to change from this final version. I mean, from preliminary to final, it didn't change. The legislatures had already made up their mind, that this is what they want. I mean, because I went to a meeting in the spring and I said, well, one size doesn't fit all. This is trying to make every town one size fits all.
Yeah.
Scituate has 5,000 square foot lots. Scituate has 10,000 square foot lots. And the guy said, well, yeah, Quincy has 5,000 square foot lots. I agree, it doesn't work for every lot. But, this is the law.
So that we definitely know what.
But the accessory dwelling as it is built on lots still have to meet applicable requirements.
Correct.
Right,
Setbacks.
setbacks,
Yes.
height, and all these
Right.
kind of things.
Yes.
right?
People can't just put a TV in there,
Right.
down and say it's okay.
Right, and we would keep that part in our bylaw.
Because I think what you'd find, the real problem with that is on smaller lots that we were infringing on other people's lots, right? That's what we have to lay down.
Yeah, I mean, that's the reason that site plan
Yeah,
review
because
is
it's, right, so you don't want that to happen, so that's why you just get a lot of people are like, well, willy-nilly, build whatever they want.
I think people, because this was, text to me, this.
Yeah.
People are gonna think, oh, they're not gonna think about the setbacks.
I had 2 people say, oh, yeah, well, I know you're not. Look, literally somebody said, I can't picture my driver's license on Jericho. I said, wait, the driveway, like, there's no setbacks. And she was like, I want to live in the back, I said,
But so after I meet with town council next week, I will take a first crack at some language. And, we'll keep talking about it at every meeting till it's time. We'll get what this planning board wants to present to the town.
so we know that that's an absolute. So the other things that we have to decide for long-term plans is something I've been talking about for a while. So we need to do something about Airbnbs, we have to do something about short-term rentals.
Absolutely.
And so,
But
I
how
think
does
so.
that mean do something?
we need to write a dialogue about, like, we need to be able to control them or be able to identify them. So we already know, because I spend a lot of time in mining, there's a lot of pushback to all of these Airbnbs. There's no control over it. And the other thing, the town should be really upset, they're supposed to be getting a tax. If you have an Airbnb and it's registered, you're giving a hotel tax to the town. Anything under 90 days is treated as a hotel. And so the town is losing revenue on this, I think. And I don't know how many, 100 and something, I looked at this several years ago. 100 and something of them are registered, but I know that there's way more than that are unregistered. So if we have to, and nobody ever wants to do that, but you need to start nibbling away at this, because this is a huge problem, the seaside towns. So Karen and I went to the big MAPC, that's why I go to one there on Holy Cross. And we looked at Lennox for short-term rentals. They had a huge issue because of the BSO, and all wanted to rent their houses on, so they really cracked down. It's a very, very imaginative, inventive bylaw.
It's very simple bylaw too.
What is it?
What?
I said, what is it? What does it say? Yeah, what's the bylaw?
I don't think that's.
Didn't bring it with me, it just, it says you can't have, noise making parties, that type of stuff. It's very simple, but there is a certain amount of inspections that go along with this stuff. And our town does not have the capabilities to do all these inspections. It would require a lot more staff coming in. And that's why every time somebody brings it up, we kind of say, yeah. I mean, I'm going to bring it up I said I'd bring it up to you guys tonight. I'll bring it up in DRT, on the 20th, but I brought it up in DRT before, and the town is not to go there. That didn't want to go there.
How about if we just did the people that are involved, be involved?
Well,
How come we can't have inspectors who work for us?
well, I think that's an HR issue.
What? All right.
That's an HR issue.
I do believe there's Airbnb itself regulates these, because my niece
Yeah.
has a couple homes. It took them a long time to get them to a certain level so that they could
Right.
rent them on Airbnb.
Okay, now you just can't
However-
decide that you want to rent your house, right? That's not how that works, right?
We can swap it.
Well,
Swap
yeah,
it.
you can, but you have to have certain things
Yeah.
with it. And is there a law that you can rent your house certain times, 2 weeks a year? No.
Well, where I live, because I have a condo, I can't rent my home for more than 30 days at a time. But that's
That's-
my
That's
HOAs.
that's a condo.
Yeah, that's my plan.
We'd have to, there's a whole lot of research that has to be
Yeah.
done.
Yeah.
And it's something that is not something that we would even consider for spring town meeting, because it's a lot of research and a lot of making sure whatever, if anything is presented, it's right for the town of Scituate. I mean, it's not an easy solution.
Well, I think we have to define the problem. I'm not sure I know the problem yet. I don't know why we would suddenly start to try to over-regulate these things or what out of it.
Well,
I'd like to hear, what the issues are.
I think some people, it's a NIMBY. To be quite honest, it's a NIMBY.
Yeah, so I mean,
NIMBY, not in my backyard.
But also how about people that live on streets that have Airbnb?
Yes, and I get a lot of complaints of that.
Right, so I live on a street that has a lot of Airbnbs, and we haven't had any issues with warnings, but it doesn't sort of add to the feeling of a community.
Yeah.
So if you live on a street where you're surrounded by 4, 5, 6 Airbnbs, you don't have neighbors. You have people that come, they pat your dog and leave, so it pulls away from the feeling of a community, you know, what
That's
Scituate
right.
should be, and I wouldn't wanna restrict someone, like, they wanna buy a property and use it as like income temporarily as Airbnb, but there are beginning to be clusters of them, I'm not so sure about mine yet, but I can tell you in Sand Hills there are, and it's detracting for sure from the neighborhood. So that would be the downside, that I'm not sure, I haven't done a lot of research, I do know there are some towns and cities that are waterfront, very touristy, where they do have regulations, which is sort of part
What
of.
are they're regulating that you can't do it?
No, it's, I have, again, I'm not completely educated on it, but, that you have to be on property, for example.
Yeah, you have to park on property, yeah, that's one of Lennox's.
Who's that?
Anybody who's staying at that facility has to park
Okay,
on the property.
yeah, but it doesn't mean that the owner of the property has to
Well,
be-
some do actually have that as well. In Charleston, South Carolina, for example, but Charleston, you can talk about accessory dwellings, it's really common in like historical district to have a house and then have an accessory dwelling, back houses or side houses. So they would maybe, that would be their Airbnb, but no, the owners have to be on site, living on site. So that's kind of like, sort of maybe a little, I don't want to say extreme, but a little more.
It's more control.
Control, right. I don't know if that would work here, I'm happy to do some more research on it. And again, I'm not trying to restrict people's ability to, you know, rent their house, make some money. I mean, you get a lot of the houses right on the water. If you go away for 2 weeks, like, I'm on vacation, someone else can come here, but to have like, and I feel it's kind of moving in that direction, again, in some neighborhoods, where there's just like a whole street or clusters on a street or in a neighborhood that are all Airbnbs all year round. Not like I'm going away for a month or whatever, that's all they do.
So remember in the old days, mine was always rented out all winter,
Yeah,
and then some people came,
Sand Hills,
Sand
it
Hills,
was rented out all winter.
right, in the lighthouse, but that's not
The
the
same.
feel, now it's a neighborhood, we all live there year round, and then you have these bunch of houses, again, I'm not trying to restrict anybody's income or investment properties that are Airbnb 12 months,
so what I hear in
and it
that,
just pulls from that.
And I don't think that was allowed. But I mean, that's something we have to look,
We have to
that's
look
something
into.
we have to look into.
So that's a
Someone's
trigger
doing
point.
it.
And we know that, so that's a trigger point. So the other issue that I hear in my end is that it's a noise issue because they're usually wedding parties. So, you know, you've got like, say you have like 25-year-olds and you know, 10 neighbors I'm not so happy about that, so I'm living next door to being homes. I mean, so I've heard that analogy and I agree with you, is that neighborhood feel that kind of goes away and people don't really know who you are, like, what are you doing here? Which you shouldn't have, but that's why we're here, for the community.
Also to the issues brought out on national TV with a lot of these investors, if you will, hedge fund people that are buying into neighborhoods and renting. Nobody knows who they are, they come, they go, and it brings down the value of the people that live there full time.
So in the city, they see that, yeah.
It, well, all,
Yeah, it's
That's
not,
absolutely-
it's not,
that's
it's not a city.
But that they're renting for the year round.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yes,
So
that's
I know what you're saying.
Also,
That's a national.
it's, I'm kind of, I don't know, I'm not a realtor, but I don't know how this will sort of affect, the real estate kind of market in general, but the Airbnbs that I'm talking about are, being exactly where they are houses that were built or renovated and square footage maybe 4,000 and they have 8 bedrooms.
Yeah.
that sounds like that, man.
Sorry. They're being built for that, so they're not being built or renovated to be family homes.
Right.
Which, if you buy a house in the neighborhood, that's kind of what you're counting on, so I don't know, it's complicated. I'm happy to do some.
I mean, so we can start to do research and look into it. And I will ask what the town's feeling is. I mean, I know some people in town think they should be regulated, others people think they shouldn't, because they don't really see a problem at the moment.
Until it's in their backyard.
Well, the one problem that they had, they were able to fix that problem, because you cannot say that these are, you can't advertise for a business happening.
Yeah.
So that's,
Like we host weddings.
right, you can't say that, because that's a business.
And we don't allow that in residential neighborhood.
That's correct. But we can start just gathering some information and presenting it and see what we find out. But it's not a short-term issue, it's a long-term issue that needs a lot of studying before it's, before anything is put. I mean, I'll gather different bylaws and, send them around.
So they're not being taxed at all.
Not if you're not registered, no.
There are registered ones in
Yeah.
Scituate. I mean, they have,
How many do you think?
I think there's over 190 rules. But those are the ones that are registered. So I know a lot that are not. So that's,
The assessor's office does have a record.
I'm sorry, can you-
can you have to tell us who you are?
Chris Karsh, 119 Stockbridge Road. I know that the assessor's office does have a record. Because it is a revenue driver. Other towns that I've been involved in meetings with really focus on that revenue driver. It's a good source, especially in the COVID time. So it is something that, if not regulate, at least monitor tax.
What is it? What is our rule tax, 7%? Something like that?
I think so.
I think it's 7%. So I mean, yes, and that would be, we're looking for money all the time. So, is there anything else in the bylaw that anybody wants to talk about? That our big giant blue book carrots is orange?
The new ones are being printed.
Okay.
The new ones will have an orange cover.
Okay. Anything else in the, because we could only do, we could only really do one bylaw at a time. Although some people in town seem to think we should take the entire zoning bylaw and do it all at once. So just bring us liquor back to town meeting, because we'll be there forever.
I'm not doing that.
No, I'm not doing that, okay, we're gonna take a straw vote. No.
You think it's hard to pass one,
Right,
Yes,
think about trying to rewrite. it.
especially because they put it at the end of the meeting.
Yeah.
And everybody's,
Oh,
Because they do things in a certain order.
I know, and I remember doing what accessory apartments at 1:30 in the morning. It was awful.
so if we just focus on accessory dwelling for the spring, that's someplace for us to start. We'll probably learn a lot about everything else probably, find out what else. I'll put my library hat up to you and start investigating.
So, I mean, a bunch of us can investigate, and, we can coordinate with what we're finding. But, we'll attempt to get something for accessory dwellings, but one bylaw I think is enough. I spoke with town council on the AG's letter, and town council opined that, our bylaw seemed fine for the way it was for age restrictions. Because age restrictions, the AG kind of implied we might need to tighten it up for, 3A compliance. But it's totally it's voluntary, and this board is not supportive of age restrictions. So, but if we wanna put something in to say it's definitely not allowed, then that's the only other thing I can think of that we might want to do.
It depends, because it had to
Speak
do,
up, miss.
speak up, it had to do with toll roads.
Yeah, I know.
And the reason that they went with 55 and older had to do with septic. And that's the big issue. So,
I don't have it in the schools.
No.
I think it had something to do with schools too.
no,
Is
Yes.
that-
with septic,
No,
because
it was schools too.
Yeah, I think part of that was,
But
well, whatever,
They were
most of
pretty
it.
sure that was gonna be
Most of it was septic because they could get 90 single family homes.
Yeah.
And they wanted to do condos, townhouses for the equivalent of 9 single-family homes.
It was,
Yeah, and then they gave it away.
then they gave it away. Okay. we have a-
I have a question.
Yes, sir?
Chris Carson, 119 Scarborough Drive. As far as accessory dwellings go, when somebody builds an accessory dwelling on a house that's on septic, town sewer, does that add to the bedroom count of the existing house? And do we restrict that?
It depends on what the Board of Health writes in their comments. I mean, if they only have a 4-bedroom septic system, then they want to take 1 bedroom out of the house and put it in the accessory dwelling, then they have to do something, either deed restriction, they have to make some type of 4-foot opening, no door. They have to do things to make it so that it can't be a bed.
So that is one of the restrictions to adding an accessory dwelling to somebody's property is that they're restricted by at least your septic system or what you're slated for on town sewer.
Right.
No restriction on water, right? We don't have a water restriction used for the house.
No,
It would just be a septic system.
no, I mean, water department will make you put in a separate service if you're in a detached. I mean, not if you're in attached, they don't really get into that.
Will they make you put in a separate stub if you're or detached?
Yes. That seems to be the current philosophy, separate water, separate sewer.
It's more money.
But not if you're part of the property.
Not if it's part of the primary dwelling.
So we're set to go for accessory dwelling. What do we have with the fall time?
Nothing.
Nothing.
We have nothing.
Good,
When is the
First
fall
time
meeting?
you're all done.
Fall town meeting, I believe, is November 18th.
you're right, it's November 18th.
And so I don't know what's on it, the warrant is open right now, closes,
Whatever.
you know, just
Well, pretty soon,
pretty soon.
doesn't say it every month.
They only keep it open 2 weeks. I think it just opened the other night.
So we all set, so we have our marching orders for.
I think we have our marching orders and it's just something we'll work on and,
Water people. So do we have any liaison reports on the summertime?
I zoomed to the zoning board of appeals meeting on July 18th. They had 3 articles. The first was property at 39 Lighthouse Road. Just sum it up, there's gonna be a raise and a rebuild. They're staying within the footprint, so it was approved. The second one is adding to a pre-existing non-conforming dwelling on 55 Common Street. It was also approved, as their setbacks were all in line. And then the last one is, a permit for an addition to the pool house at the Scituate Harbor Yacht Club, which is a non-conforming structure. There was a lot of back and forth on it, and they continue to get this.
How long is this to continue?
This will be his fifth.
This fifth continuance. Okay,
There was a lot of conversation about previous decisions. I didn't sound like that they were made by, this is, by any board in Scituate, like pre-existing laws that have been.
so what happens is that as you sit on a board.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's a luck of the draw who's on the board.
Right.
And so, and I've actually heard the building inspector say that to somebody who said, well, you know what, my neighbor, and he said, like, that was a different board, so it has to do with the
Right.
interpretation.
Right, no, there
City
was a lot of discussion about even at the Lighthouse Road. So it was a raise and rebuild on a non-conforming lot, and they, the builder, Morris was there too, saying that they were not making it more non-conforming, whereas the building at the Yacht Club would make it more non-conforming, and there's a lot of debate about the setbacks and exact footage and legal precedents, I'm not aware, but legal precedents and hopefully for us to continue.
Okay, so that's next week. So, anybody else who is on, I didn't know. No, summertime.
Really?
Well, actually, was it a year ago I was at an expert party at your house tonight? 2 years? Oh,
Time flies when you're having fun.
excellent, party, you wanna do that again?
I did it already, but you were.
No, I like your party, girls. I put the bars. Okay, so, and so, Keon, do we have our planning and development?
We have a small cell attachment for next time, so,
Who's the proponent?
it's 18 feet.
AT&T.
It's, you know,
See.
it's pole 24 across from 109 Jericho Road. So I've given you the application tonight, you'll get it electronically, and you'll get the comments. Whatever comments I've received so far, you will get.
So this is the same application plus more,
It's a different application.
be the same location.
No.
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 They left last year by saying that they would study the location. Nobody committed to anything. And so this is what they have found works for them. This is what they're presenting to the town for approval.
Right.
So we have that next time. I'll give you, I have your copy right here.
That's great. I know, but this is just for one cell. So.
Right, they're still working on a location for in the harbor. They're,
It does what they filed included alternatives to analysis.
it has the site selection feasibility. The one with all the pins in it.
Oh,
Where they looked at various potential locations.
Yes.
and
Yes. I talked to, the Drew Company today. They're 83% leased and 78% occupied.
Wow.
So things are moving.
They still bring that restaurant.
Tonight, it's opening tonight.
Well,
CP.
Oysterman is not due to open till approximately November.
But they have all of the permits.
They have their building permit.
They also have their liquor and their common vic.
Okay.
Oh, they do?
And so CP's was due to open supposedly at 4 o'clock today.
And at 11 o'clock, I didn't know why they were ready, but just saying, unless everybody ran around, put his buttons to get everything inside. It didn't
The
look like it.
CO was signed off at about 4:45 today.
There you go.
So, and I have a new assistant starting on September 3rd. So I'll be by myself for that, but, you know, right now, everything is good. Who's the new
And
assistant?
moved it.
Katie Baxter.
Who?
Katie Baxter.
I'll tell you, she's a librarian just like me. I've been okay for a long time. Really qualified. You gotta bring a lot to the table for us. When it comes to research and analysis. So,
That's all I have.
so what's change to move on this? Oh,
Move to adjourn.
Second.
all in favor? Aye. Thank you, Seth.
Thank you, Seth.
You are welcome. Give me 1 second here. They